Mm-hmm.
What does it exactly do to hold someone accountable?
They don't do it, I take them out the game. It's pretty simple, Jim. You know, I mean, again, you get beat on the defensive end, and I've done this my whole career. You know, guys, they understand it. You know, you're not doing what you're supposed to do out there. There's consequences. And the only thing that you can really control with players is their minutes. That gets their attention. You know, so, you know, if you're not out there and you're not, you know, playing defense the way I think you're capable of playing or the way we should play defense, then I'm going to have to find other guys that will.
What does modern basketball allow in terms of what you guys do in Showtime going up and down the lane?
Well, we can't play that way. We don't have a Magic Johnson, you know, so we can't get up and down the floor, you know, a guy pushing the ball like he pushes right now. But, you know, my style is still the same. You know, like I said, first of all, defense, we gotta do that on a night-to-night basis. Offensively, we want to get up and down the floor. We want to spread the ball. Don't want it sticking, you know, as much as possible. And we want to put our players in a position to be successful.
Byron, you mentioned Kobe's going to have to be a little patient. What is the realistic timetable to turn this team around into what you think?
I don't know. Again, that's, you know, something that Mitch and Jim have been talking about. You know, we didn't really get into all that. You know, we talked a lot about basketball. We didn't talk about timetables and things like that. But again, we don't. At least I don't see this as a long process. You know, this is Los Angeles. It's still one of the best organizations in all the sports. Still got a ton of people that would love to play for this organization. And you got guys that are sitting in the front row that are very adamant about that, and they're advocates for this organization. So I don't think it's going to take long. That's putting a timetable on it. I don't think long.
So how much of a factor was the fact that Byron played for us twice in the hiring? Well, I mean, obviously it was a factor. We talked about it, and you know, we knew the support in the city would be there. You know, it's not like, you know, he's new to this. He's an experienced coach, which is something, you know, that we stated early on we wanted to acquire. Yeah, the roster, you know, was put together in the last month. But we still feel we have one of the best players in the NBA, and we've accumulated some talent. It's going to take some time to work our way through it and to figure out the best way to play. But all those were factors. Certainly getting off on a good step is a factor, and we knew that would be the case, bringing Byron back to Los Angeles.
Definitely. Like, you know, Mitch just said, we got still one of the best players in the league in Kobe Bryant. You know, so he's somebody that we have to lean on as well. But, you know, point guard position is a very, very important position in this league right now. Kobe can play the point. You know, we got Steve still and Jeremy. You know, so I think we're okay at that position. I think we're going to be in good shape. It's just, again, getting those guys acclimated to the type of offense that I want to play. Well, you know what? I don't want to put a bunch of expectations on a young fellow like that. I think he has to just come in here and play. You know, he just has to come in here and play. I don't want him thinking a whole lot. Just come in here and can learn the system. And I think the sky's the limit. I mean, he's definitely very talented. To get him at 7 was a steal. I mean, the kid was probably top 3. You know, I love his attitude. I love the way he attacks the basket. I love the way he, you know, rebounds the ball. So, you know, he brings some things to the table that can definitely help us.
Is there a chance he could start at some point this season?
There's always a chance.
What do you have to do to prove to you that he should be?
He's going to have to play the other guys. It's simple as that. Power forwards, you know, he has to outplay them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll be a mixture of a little bit of everything that I've done so far in New Jersey, New Orleans, and Cleveland. You're trying to take advantage of any situation that you can on the offensive end, any mismatch that you can on the offensive end. You're trying to put the ball in guys who can make things happen. Like I said, the Princeton offense, you have to understand how to play the game of basketball. It's just like the triangle. A lot of similarities. So I know Kobe is very familiar with it, but there's different varieties to the Princeton offense. There's just not the triangle. It's like 5 different sets that you can call the Princeton offense. And we won't get into all of them, and we won't even try to work on all of them. But like I said, it's going to be a mixture of things that I think can make this team successful.
Byron, over the last 6 weeks or however it's been, you've been something of a holding pattern. How have you approached it? Have you looked at free agency in the draft as if this day was going to come and prepared as if this day was going to come, or did you just try to stay away from it?
Well, I didn't try to stay away from it necessarily. I just was, looking at all the moves that Jim and Mitch were making. And when we talked, they would ask me my opinion, and I would give it to them. And like I said, I thought they did a great job of putting this roster together. I'm excited to work with these guys, looking forward to it. I think you're going to have a few of these guys that are on this roster that have a chip on their shoulder, which to me is a very good thing. And, you have a lot of people just real down on us right now, and I think that's something that can drive us, going into this season. So again, I'm excited about that.
Last year, you actually had the year off. 13 years before that, you were coaching every year. What, if anything, did you learn?
I learned that I needed that time off. it was good. No, you know what? At that time, you tend to try to get away from the game for a little while. But if you are really a basketball guy, if you really love this game, and you have the passion that I have for this game, you just can't stay away from it that long. You start watching a lot more games. You start, getting that feel back, wanting to be back in that saddle again. And that's where I found myself working with Time Warner, which I loved. But, I wanted to be back in that saddle. I wanted to get that, get that. I had that itch again about coaching, and teaching. And it's something that's in my blood. It's something that I enjoy doing. Relationships that you build and the bonds that you develop, over the years with some of these players are things that are priceless. So for me, after about 3 or 4 months, I started getting the itch, and then, like I said, working with Time Warner, that didn't help the itch. It just, enhanced it.
You can emphasize enough regarding the defense kind of win again. So how do you think Jeremy Lin going to help the Lakers with that defense fit in your system?
Well, the thing I like about Jeremy is that he's feisty, he's tough, he competes. I played against him as far as coached against him in a number of games. So I know how he is. He's a competitor. So the point guard position, in this league today on the defensive end is vital. You got to have guys they don't have to be great. They don't have to be great, one-on-one defenders, but they have to, go after you. They have to just continue to be persistent on that end of the floor. I think Jeremy is like that. And offensively, obviously, he can shoot the ball. He can push the ball up and down the floor. He gets to the basket. He's a very, very intelligent basketball player. So, again, after, coaching against him for a few years, it's going to be fun to coach him. Well, I don't look at that as a challenge. I look at that as really in my favor. I think those guys have been in the league so long that they understand that they can't play 48 minutes a game, especially to last the whole season. So those are conversations that I'll sit down with those guys on an individual level and talk to them and tell them what I'm thinking and listen to what they're thinking, and we'll come up with a game plan and go from there. Well, in the office that I run, post players are important, very important, because I think a lot of our guys are probably going to get played one-on-one. and they get played one-on-one, they got to be able to make a move down there. So it's going to be something that we emphasize, but they also have to be a hub. You know, they also have to be able to pass the ball, set screens, they have to know how to play the game of basketball. So, you know, if we got a guy that can score down there, we're going to throw him the ball.
Previous coaches have said that you can't exactly tell Kobe what to do. You have a great relationship with him. Do you kind of share that same sentiment or have you?
No, you know, again, I just think Kobe's an unbelievable basketball player that has an unbelievable mind for the game of basketball. And I see us conversating a lot over things that we should do on the basketball court. And I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, like I said, when I came to the league and I had to play with this man over here, on his side, you know, listening to him talk about the game was amazing to me, the way he saw the game. You know, so as a coach, there are certain things that I'm going to see out on the floor, and I think there are certain things that he's going to see. You know, and at times I'm going to go with some of the things that he sees. I'm going to go with some of the things that I see. So I don't think that's going to be a problem whatsoever. No, they wasn't joking. They wasn't joking. Hey, Baby B, what's going on with you? So hey, I'm Buck. What can I tell you? You know, we're gonna have conversations as well. Cap, they wasn't joking. Well, you know what? These guys are not only my great friends, but they're great basketball players, and obviously they have great basketball minds. So there's probably going to be time the same with Mitch. You know, when I go in his office, what did you see? What are you seeing? And it's no different with Irvin. It's no different with Silk. It's no different with Cap. I think when you get to the point as a coach where you think you know it all, it's time to retire. It really is. It's time to retire. I don't think I'm there yet. I think I have a lot to learn. Even though I've been doing this 13, 14 years, I still think every day I can get better. And why not, lean on some of the guys that I feel can help me get better, and that's these guys right here. No. No. You got to understand, though, in Jersey and in Cleveland, New Orleans, I have more rings than everybody in the organization. These guys, they got way more rings than I do, so it's easy to listen to them. You know, it's kind of hard when the guys in the organization haven't been to a finals, or haven't won anything, for them to kind of tell you how to get there when I've been there. These guys all here have been there multiple times and won multiple championships. So, as I tell players today, I don't have players do anything that we didn't do back in the day on the basketball floor. And that stays the same. This is still Laker town, period. But does it make for a great rivalry? Yes. And I love that about it, that we have two teams now, one that has about 17 banners and one that doesn't have any yet. But, the rivalry is getting pretty good, but this is still Laker town. Well, at the time I was in the Bahamas when I got the word. I was vacationing, and really just told all my family members that the deal wasn't done, but we were close. And once it got done, I would let them all know, and then we would all celebrate. Well, the fans have been unbelievable. Everywhere I've been here in Los Angeles, the fans have been very supportive. And you could tell they are true blue, purple and gold fans. And it means a great deal to me. And I know it does to Mitch and Jim as well, that our fans are so hyped up about this as I am. But it also means to me that, I want to do everything in my power not to let them down. Not only fans, but like I said earlier, Jim and Jeannie and Mitch have showed a lot of trust in me.